Hello and welcome to One Cool Thing, PC Mag's daily show where we show you one cool thing which we are testing out here in the PC Mag Labs. I'm Sasha Segan, this is Max Eddy,
Hi.
and if you are watching us live on Facebook, then please comment, ask questions. Social Pete is here to take your comments and questions. If you are watching us later on YouTube, then please like and subscribe. We have a new One Cool Thing for you every day. Now, our One Cool Thing today is a relatively rare 5-star product here at PC Mag. Now, we do all sorts of products on One Cool Thing. I think recently we had a 2 or a 2.5-star product. Those are things we don't necessarily recommend, but a 5-star product is a product that we recommend above all others. It is the epitome of its category. It is the apotheosis. It is NordVPN. Now, we have a huge amount of VPN coverage, right, Max?
Oh man, do we?
And so how many VPNs did you look at to get to the idea that NordVPN is the best one available?
Well, I actually came to that conclusion last year when I was doing this. So that was, I think we were looking at 20-some of them, 24, I can't quite remember. And then you include all of the different versions of them, so that number climbs up to closer to 50. Yeah, so it's been a lot. It's quite a few VPNs. But we just did some new round of testing, and NordVPN held its position as a 5-star EC.
Okay, so what do you rate VPN? So actually, first of all, we should probably establish what is a VPN? Why do people need VPNs? We don't have any Lego here, but
sadly, no. We
Yeah.
have a really great Lego video explaining VPNs, and it's much more entertaining than I will be. But Sasha, let's say that you are the internet.
And that is in fact true.
That is true. And here I am on my computer, and I want to reach the internet. Now, normally when I would connect to it, my information would just flow directly to you. But when I turn on a VPN, it creates an encrypted tunnel directly to your brain, but with a VPN server in between. So it connects from this computer through the encrypted tunnel to the VPN server and then onto the internet. That means that the ISPs can't see what you're doing. That means anyone else on your network cannot see what you're doing. That means that if you're connected to a free Wi-Fi network that you don't know if it's safe or not, they can't see what you're doing. So all that information is protected from everyone around it until it exits onto the internet, and then it's, you know, up on its own pretty much.
So there are two aspects though. So first of all, there's the safety aspect you're pointing out, where the various parties in between you and your final connection can't see what you're doing, whether it be, as you said, your ISP, the free Wi-Fi hotspot, the hackers who are snooping on the free Wi-Fi hotspot, etc., etc., etc. But VPNs also have the aspect that a lot of people are interested in, that to the destination website, your traffic can appear to be coming from a country that you're not in.
Right, exactly. So the way a lot of websites and pretty much everything else on the internet determines your locations by looking at your IP address, because IP addresses are given out geographically. I looked it up once. I think the Vatican has like 119 IP addresses, so good for them. So when you are connected to the VPN server, anyone looking at what you're doing on the internet will see the IP address of the VPN server and not yours. So they're not going to be able to figure out exactly where you are. You can also tunnel into a VPN server that's in another country entirely. So I'm here in New York City. I could tunnel into a server way over in the Netherlands and then pop back onto the internet, and everyone's going to see, oh, he's coming from the Netherlands.
So I'm gonna ask two more questions, because these are very important things that I know a lot of people wonder about with VPNs.
Yeah.
So and we can answer them specifically vis-a-vis Nord, because that is our choice for VPNs. Number one, if law enforcement requests the details of your traffic or what you're doing on the internet, can that protect you from it?
Yes. Well, I mean, this is the thing. Like, within reason, yes. So NordVPN does not keep logs about user activity online. They're based in Panama, which means that they are not beholden to any particular laws requiring them to hold on to user data or to hold on for that data for any length of time. And it also gives them the option to sort of weigh the choices of whether or not to respond to requests from law enforcement. Obviously, I think most VPN companies want to be good actors, and if they receive a court order or a subpoena, or if they believe that the information is solid and will be in the public good, sometimes a VPN company will disclose, say, the personal information that they might have, billing information, for example. But a good VPN company will not be able to tell law enforcement what websites you've been to.
And then the second question, also specifically vis-a-vis Nord, is will it allow you to watch geo-blocked streaming video services?
So this is a really great question. Now, a lot of video streaming services have deals in particular countries where content is only available in those countries. I think for a while, wasn't the Game of Thrones available in Australian Netflix or something like that? Yeah.
And there's a lot of people in the US who, for instance, want to use BBC iPlayer,
Exactly.
which is geo-blocked from the United States.
Or if you're like my partner who absolutely loves gymnastics but hates the NBC commentary, she'll VPN into Canada and get CBC commentary on women's gymnastics. And it is, I can verify, much better.
So does Nord let you do that?
Nord has no problem with that because they're not watching your traffic. They're not interested in what you're doing online at all. That is your privacy right there. That's them protecting your privacy. Now, whether or not the companies who are providing that streaming service are going to be okay with it, that's a different question altogether. Netflix, for example, is very aggressive about blocking VPN use. And they're doing it through a variety of means. They're probably looking at traffic. They're probably looking at known IP blocks that are used by VPNs. But for the most part, I've had a lot of really good luck with Nord. Nord has made a big effort to make sure that you can always access Netflix, for example, when you're using their service. And this really gets to the heart of it because there are people who are trying to get around geographic restrictions about content, and that's their business. But there's also no reason why I should have to disclose more information about my online activities just to do some Netflix and chill. I should be able to watch my stuff and feel as safe as I want to be.
So let's look. Now we have a laptop here. Yes, that is running the NordVPN interface. Now, first of all, NordVPN works on what kinds of devices?
Oh, pretty much everything. It's got a native. It has a native application for Mac OS, not OS X, Mac OS, Windows, Android. It's even got
iOS.
It's got iOS. It's got. Pretty sure it's got Linux. I cannot remember off the top of my head.
Okay.
But the good news is you can sign up for any of these any VPN service and then configure your operating system to work with their service. You don't necessarily need this lovely first-party client, but it does make it much, much better. Nord is also one of the unique companies that offers plugins for browsers, so you can connect just the information inside your browser, and everything else will travel in the clear. That's useful if you are concerned about, say, if you're a hardcore gamer, as I know you are. You don't want to slow down your gaming experience by using a VPN necessarily, so you can just use that plugin to secure your web traffic.
I would, however, describe myself as a hardcore Netflix watcher.
There you go.
So this interface, what's going on in this interface?
So this uses a very lovely sort of whimsical view of the Earth. It reminds me of the Risk maps from like the old 1950s games. And what I like about this is that it's very, very straightforward. You just click this button. You just click this button, and it automatically looks for the best server to connect you to. So that's probably going to be the one with the lowest ping time, lowest latency.
In that country.
Yeah, it's looking for whatever's got the lowest latency, so it's probably going to be the one that's closest to you. Now, I have just installed this, and I just realized I did not connect it to a Wi-Fi network before I got on the show, so it's not going to be able to get on there. But once it does, this will turn green, and you'll be connected to there. Whichever country this is. You can click on this, for example, if you want to go through this map interface, you can say, oh, I want to connect to Canada, and you can connect to Canada. You can, of course, go through this lovely list.
Okay.
You can have favorite servers. I really like the Albanian server. And you can have these specialty servers, which is one of my favorite features. So these are servers that Nord offers that are keyed to do these specific things. So if you're concerned about DDoS, if you want to have a dedicated IP address, which you can purchase through Nord to avoid that IP blocking we talked about earlier. If you want to route through 2 VPNs, because 2 VPNs is better than 1, maybe.
Okay, Mr. Robot.
Sure. You can get onto they have servers specifically for BitTorrent and P2P sharing. That's a little bit more complicated. We can get into that.
We'll just say that exists. Yeah.
And my favorite one. Oh, this is apparently a touchscreen, and that's news to me.
I was just trying to.
I've been using this for 3 years, and I had no idea.
Really?
Yeah, this is a touchscreen. I feel really stupid.
Do you use Windows much, Max?
Yeah, I do daily, as I just said. So a great feature that Nord offers that very few competitors do is the ability to connect to the Tor network via VPN. So the Tor network is true anonymization. While a VPN will hide your IP address, it is still, you can still figure out who somebody is, or you can at least narrow it down to a group of people. You can correlate traffic and all that. When you route your traffic through Tor, you don't just hop from your computer to a VPN server. You hop from your computer to a VPN server into the Tor node, and you'll be routed through like 3 or 4 other computers before you finally hit the internet, and that effectively anonymizes.
Does Nord have a kill switch?
For apps, you mean?
So that if you lose your VPN connection, it cuts off your internet.
Yeah, that's a pretty standard feature for pretty much all VPNs at this point.
Okay.
I think that's pretty much. I think in some cases it'll be down to the individual app on which machine you're running. Sometimes it's a little bit harder to do that. For example, iOS, it's really different. You'll see a very wide discrepancy in the features in iOS VPN apps because of some of the restrictions and some of the extra scrutiny that Apple applies to VPN companies.
Okay, let's take a look at, so first of all, do we have any questions out there, or are people just dazzled by the phenomenon of virtual private networks?
We've gotten a couple questions just about speed and how much Nord would slow you down.
Okay, let's go to the charts.
Let's go to the big board.
Yeah. So here on the big board, we have Max's charts.
The fruits of my labor.
Yes, showing the various test speeds of various VPNs. Please tell me what we're looking at here and what a taller or shorter bar means.
Cambot, if I go around, will you still be able to see the... Yeah, okay, so I'm gonna go over here so we can get a good look at this. So we're gonna start with latency, because this is where the story begins. Now, latency is a measurement of how long it takes to ping a server and come back. So usually the closer a server it is, the better the latency. So this test, I will concede that we're connecting more or less randomly. We're using whatever server that the company tells us is the best. But you can see that Nord does quite well. It only increases your latency by 15%. The leader in this category.
So I'm going to point out, with all of these charts, short bars are good, long bars are bad.
Yes, in general.
Okay.
Sometimes they're above the 0 axis, sometimes they're below it.
Still bad.
And this is a function of my lack of understanding about Excel. But here we are. So 15%, it only increases your latency by 15%. That's very good. That usually means that there's a lot of servers around, and in fact, Nord has 3,400 servers across the world. It is the leader in that category, followed closely by private internet access, which has 3,275. But the leader in latency is actually TorGuard, 6.67% above. That means that their server was slightly closer, just a little bit.
Wait. So TorGuard's latency latency is greater than just using your ISP? That feels impossible.
No, it's the opposite way around. It's less latency.
No, I mean, right. But like,
well, this comes out because we're using the Ookla test server, so that probably means that the TorGuard server
is closer than the Ookla server.
And no offense to TorGuard or anybody else, but now that I've been doing this for several years now, I wouldn't be surprised if some companies are like, hey, maybe we should make sure that we have a server somewhere in the New York metro area. So moving on from this. The download speed is probably the most important test that we run. Everyone is concerned about how long it's going to take to get big files off the internet. As you can see down here, Nord is doing very good. Nord slows down your speed by, on average, 5.06%. That's very, very, very good. Obviously, you can see there's some other ones that aren't doing that hot. Now, on this side, I run a second set of tests. For this test, I'm connecting to a Ookla being the service that we use to do all these speed tests. We connect to a test server in Anchorage, Alaska to get a baseline, and then we use that same test server while connecting to a VPN server in Australia. So this is like, I have put as much in between this connection as humanly possible.
And this is to speak to things like people trying to use foreign Netflix through a geo-blocker.
Exactly.
Yeah.
This is a very convoluted path that I have asking the data to go through. And as you can see, Nord is not the best, but it is doing quite well. It decreases your speed by 73%, which sounds like a lot, but it is still absolutely functional. It is still well within the parameters that I would expect to see. The leader in this category is Anchor Free. They are very surprising. But Anchor Free comes with some very serious caveats, which you can read about in my review. That's a better place to have that discussion. The last one we look at is, of course, upload speeds. Now, this one, I think we'll start with the international one here, because everything is more or less the same.
Okay.
Everything ends up in just about the same bracket. That's been that way for years. So it's fine. Don't worry. And down here you can see almost no change for upload speeds. That's really, really good. 5.3%. I've been very happy with NordVPN. I will say that NordVPN is not like ever going to be the fastest, but it also doesn't need to be. It offers so many great features, it has a great interface. It's a little bit more expensive than you would pay for a service like private internet access or and then another VPN service perhaps, but it's that quality of service, this excellent results, the technology behind it. They're just a great company to work with.
And so when we talk about price, by the way, we have, it's $11.95 a month. $11.95 a month, but it looks like they really frequently have long-term promotions.
Right. So if you want to go on an annual plan, you can pay $69 a year. If you want to go on a 2-year plan, it's $59 every 2 years. So the idea is whether or not you want to pay upfront a lot of money or a little bit of money over time.
Wow. I was satisfied with private internet access, but that 2-year plan, I might switch.
Make no mistake, private internet access is another editor's choice. It's 4.5 stars. We really like PIA. They also have a great service with great technology. Nord beats them out just simply on the breadth of things that they offer. Very few companies have the option to connect to the Onion network, for example. That's so useful, so convenient to make this kind of complex security technology very accessible. That's what Nord is really good at.
Okay, great. Any more questions out there?
Is there a device limit with NordVPN?
Yes, so on average, most VPN companies will only allow you to connect 5 devices simultaneously. There are a few exceptions to this, and they don't score as well. But Nord is unique in that they offer 6! So you can get that 1 extra device. You can also, if you're into the DIY stuff, you can try to configure your router.
I was going to say, can you connect any routers directly to the VPN so that you don't have to worry about the individual devices in your home?
Yeah, absolutely. That's a very common thing that VPNs offer. Some VPN companies, I believe TorGuard and a few others, will actually sell you a router with that's pre-configured with their stuff on there. So the idea is when you have a router that's connected to your VPN, instead of your computer tunneling, it's your router creating that tunnel. So that means that everything inside your network is now being protected by that VPN. There's some advantages to this, some like really obvious ones, like you don't have to worry about how many devices are connected. You can extend VPN protection to, say, your smart devices, like your smart fridge that can't run a VPN on its own. But it also means that you can do things like Chromecast within your home. For example, if you have any VPN running, not just Nord, any VPN on your phone, you will not be able to Chromecast because it's sending that data to a server that's outside your home. Chromecast will not work in those contexts. So you'll be able to get that protection, be able to use Chromecast if you put it on a router.
Any more questions?
Does it work in China, and is it safe to use there?
That's a really, really good question. And when it comes to specific questions like this about is it safe to use in country X, where X is a country that has particularly repressive internet policies and where you could say, for example, go to jail for accessing a certain website, I personally don't think it's a good idea for me to say that it's safe.
Our policy, our actual policy at PCMag is that at PCMag we have owned and operated publications in the US, the UK, and Australia. And we cannot actually speak legally to users outside the US, UK, and Australia. While the things we recommend may be very useful for people outside those countries, we restrict our testing to uses in those countries.
And again, I could come up here and tell you all the facts I know about NordVPN and probably off the top of my head make a decision about whether or not it's safe, but I am not willing to put someone else's life and livelihood at risk for that. But I will say this, NordVPN operates servers in Hong Kong, Russia, and Turkey, so they are available within countries that have particularly restrictive internet policies. They also have a section of their website you can look at that'll tell you how to set up NordVPN to connect while in China. If you are visiting any country outside the US, or really, if you're in the US, you should be using a VPN too. But if you're traveling, yeah, you definitely want to take the time to look up to see what those internet policies are going to be like and whether or not a VPN is a necessity or whether it's going to be something you're going to use when you can.
And I wanted to throw one more country on there. We are happy to make recommendations for Canadians. Love those Canadians. Definitely willing to make recommendations for Canadians, but China is its own thing. And China is a very complicated, very different thing, and we are not going to pretend to be experts on what's happening inside China.
On the subject of Canada, however, I will say that one of our newest editor's choices, TunnelBear VPN, is based in Canada. It's another great product. Be sure to take a look at some of our latest reviews. We've got some great editor's choices on there. I think you're going to love them all.
Any more questions?
I see the sheep.
So if I have to use it through the router, will Chromecast still work?
Yeah, Chromecast will apparently work. I have not tried this myself because My router is a mystery to me, and I'm okay with that. That's the life that I've chosen to lead. But if you have the VPN connected to your router, that means that your individual devices inside that network are not tunneling out and then coming back in. That's the problem with Chromecast and VPN. So if you have a VPN on your phone and you're trying to do Chromecast, the data from your phone is actually being sent out and then coming back in. And one of the things Chromecast is looking for is that information local? And when it comes back, it's like, oh, it's not. I can't do that, and it's encrypted on that end. So whoa. So yeah, when you have it on the router, it should work. I can't speak to its full-on efficacy, but I see no reason why it wouldn't.
Okay. Okay, great. So NordVPN is one of our editor's choices for VPN service, but it is also 5 stars, which means that we recommend this VPN enthusiastically without any restrictions, wholeheartedly from us to you.
Full-throatedly.
Absolutely. Thank you all for watching. This has been One Cool Thing. If you are on Facebook, we will be back tomorrow at 10 a.m. Eastern with another cool thing. If you're on YouTube, please like and subscribe. Every day, check back on PC Mag's channel, and we'll have another cool thing for you.